Welcome back to WJUC 2018. We are live streaming from Rim Park in Waterloo, Ontario. We are on day 5, game 1 between Mexico and Belgium men's. I'm Nico Birch, and here with me today is Melissa Dunbar.
Good morning, Nico. Excited to see this game between Belgium and Mexico. Both teams very similarly seeded in this tournament. Mexico just seeded one above Belgium in their Pool B play. This game, I believe, was supposed to take place yesterday and had to be moved to today due to the rain. But excited to see what these men can bring now that the weather's cleared up a little bit. We have a little bit of a damp field, but no rain coming down at the time.
And we have Belgium with the pull, nice and deep. Mexico receives and is with Gomez. Back to Miguel Angel Gomez. To Fernando Gomez. He finds 14 Padilla. Padilla looking reset. Gomez gets free. Back to Gomez. Looking for the strike option, but there isn't any. Finds Estrada. Estrada throws the IO break back to Gomez. However, there is a pick call. Gomez gets to keep the disc. Oh, nope, there's some argument, and he will be sending it back to Estrada. Padilla gets free. Goes up line, but unfortunately the receiver can't be grabbing it. That's number 21, Ilazeld.
Now we get our first opportunity to see Belgium's offense here from their D-line, starting at the corner cone. Have to go the full distance.
Van Molen walking to the disc, or walking to the cone. Mexico is in a poachy look with Padilla in the lane. Goes high to number 16, Labazuski. Damare has it. Goes back to Van Molen. Damare. And there's a strike from number 13, Skeeta Cat. And that's a goal. Belgium is up 1 break.
Excellent deep strike there from number 13 on Belgium. Well timed. He only had a few steps on his defender, but he was able to really stretch the field. Beautiful throw from the Belgian team.
Now with the men's division, the top 4 in each pool will go directly into quarterfinals. Belgium is in a quarterfinal position as of right now, so they definitely want to win this game to keep it.
It'll be interesting to see what Belgium does on defense here. They're a tall team compared to the Mexican players. To see if they use their height on defense. We saw Netherlands versus Mexico on Monday. Netherlands choosing to put on a fairly large zone, which caused difficulty for the Mexican handlers to get around such height. Mexico, their strength certainly being quick, small movements, fast resets to the middle of the field. Number 15, Gomez, has been a big player for them in moving that disc across the field.
We see 99 Orlovsky's on the Belgian team getting ready to pull. He is actually one of the few pickups for this Belgian team. He's originally from Latvia and played with them last U20s, but Latvia elected not to go to this year's Worlds. And it's to 24 on Mexico, Garcia. He finds 10, Perez. And unfortunately, a missed reset cut from number 8, Bandera, causes the turn, and hopefully Belgium can punch it in. Damare walking up to the disc. Belgium is set in a standard end zone vertical stack. Damare sends up the high scuba. And unfortunately, number 16, Labazuski cannot make the play.
There is a bit of a breeze coming from the far side of the field towards us here in the booth that maybe got a handle on that scuba a little bit, causing it to turn away from the Belgian player.
That's a high release flick attempt, but unfortunately Van Mullen's able to get a hand to it. And he throws the around break to Orlovskis for the goal.
Excellent movement by Belgium on the end zone line. Quick turnover, able to capitalize right away. Not afraid to take a few shots into the end zone to move the disc quickly. Good to see from them early in the game.
Now, speaking of Orlovskis, as he's a Belgian pickup, they also have another well-known pickup in the European Ultimate World, Benjamin Oort, who generally plays for the Dutch national team. However, Ben and the Dutch team decided to part ways this season, and Ben picked up with the Belgian team instead. However, he is injured and will not be playing this game. Hopefully, we can see him later in the tournament.
Mexico going with their offensive line again. Watch for number 15, Gomez, in the middle of the field. He's been their main reset handler, working the disc up the field.
And we have the pull from Duthrois. Has a really nice hang time, and Gomez has it. He finds his other Gomez. Goes to 12, Gonzalez. Gonzalez looking for a reset. Has Gomez. He goes to Hermosillo. Goes to Garcia. And there is a pick call, I believe. Or maybe not.
Looks as though it may be a down call. Number 12 coming over, it seems, as a translator between the two teams. Difficult when there's a language barrier to try and communicate the calls on the field, but also what the game advisors are there to help with as well. It did look as though the Mexican player was able to scoop that, turning his body. You see him gesturing that he trapped the disc against his knee before it hit the ground.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree that it looked like he did have possession before it did touch the ground. We'll see what the game advisor offers. If not, it will just be a contested call, and we'll go back to the thrower, who I believe is Gomez.
Of course, here with the WIF-DIF game advisors, they are able to step in and give their opinion. The players do not have to agree with them, but here in this case,
and
they
it
do.
Looks like Garcia realizes it is down and is uncontested. So we see Belgium picking up, centers it to 5, Duthrois. Goes to Yonkers, I believe. He finds Kinda. Back to Yonkers. He goes to Vandenbroek, who finds Feller. Vandenbroek goes for the round, gets Yonkers, but it's not quite in. Yonkers goes for the high release. I believe that is to Vandenbroek again. And that is the third break in a row for Belgium.
Belgium just spreading the field well here early in the game, really using their handlers to move that disc all the way across to the break side of the field, getting it right outside the end zone, and maybe easily able to throw a nice high release over the shorter Mexican defenders for the score.
Yeah, it pays to have someone like Yonkers who just is of a towering height. He looks to be well over 6 feet. Great length to his body and able to make those grabs easily.
Mexico choosing to stay with a very similar offensive line as they have for the past 2 points. Maybe seeing if they can just establish some flow here early in the game with having the same players on the field. Just a few execution errors here from Mexico. If they can clean that up, I think we'll start to see them moving the disc well up the field.
We have a hand. And the pull from 21, Faber. Gomez receives. Goes to Graf. Oh, and there is... I believe there's maybe both an injury and a foul call. Injury call from Gomez. Vandenbroek helps him up. And we have number 14, Padilla, subbing in. I think they are now going to see if Gomez is calling the foul or not.
Perhaps looking to see, too, when the injury was called, if it was called before that disc went up in the air and before that turnover happened. Checking with the game advisor to see if the turnover will stand.
Hopefully Gomez will just need 1 point off. He seems to be one of the main cogs in this Mexican offense, so to lose him would definitely be a huge loss for Mexico. Vandenbroek is making his case to the game advisor. I believe Vandenbroek has decided just to go back to the thrower, so it will go back to Gomez. Lots of clapping from the sideline. I believe the count is coming in on 4. Gomez goes to Garcia. And unfortunately, the wind just catches that edge and pulls it out of bounds.
Again, there's been a lot of weather already here this morning before the first games have started. A large downpour really got the turf wet. We've seen a few slips already, and I think the wind is going to have a factor on this game this morning.
Faber looking for a reset. Off the hands of Vandenbroek, but he gets another chance at it. Vandenbroek looking to Faber, gets it off. Faber faking aggressively. Finds Dutoit. He goes to Vandenbroek. Back to Dutoit. Feller. Feller goes with the hammer. And that is a very nice grab from the Belgian receiver. I believe it is number 6, Mosquik.
An exciting choice there from the Belgian thrower to put a hammer up against the wind into the back of the end zone. Excellent job by the receiver to come down with that disc in traffic.
And my bad is actually number 9, Bontemps, with the catch, who's actually the youngest player on this Belgian team. So showing awesome skills, showing that age does not matter in the sport. And we have a timeout call from one of the teams. I would assume it's Mexico, maybe hoping to stop that bleeding a little bit and gain some momentum going into the second part of this first half.
Mexico just seeming to look a little nervous early on here. The right ideas on the throws, a little bit of difficulty on their execution, maybe eager to prove themselves after a tough game against Germany in their pool play on Monday. They've had a full day off from play here, so hard to get that momentum back, but maybe coming out of this timeout we'll be able to see some energy and some big plays coming on the field.
One thing that is nice to see from both teams is they have a very good team mentality, it seems. They're always going in together on the line or on timeouts. You know, they're very strong as a team.
We see after coming out of this timeout, we see a few changes on that Mexican offensive line, maybe getting a few fresh legs in there, trying to find some energy and some momentum to come back from a 4-0 deficit here early in the game. Lots of time left for Mexico to put on a big push.
Wind seems to be getting a bit stronger, as it's more of a crosswind today, where the wind is coming directly towards the booth. So we'll see how this affects the players as it's getting windier. And the pull from Orlovsky's. Nice grab from 43, Ruiz. Back to Ruiz in the center. To Gomez. And it's a zone look from Belgium, 3-person cup. Gomez goes around to 8, Bandera. Back to Gomez. Bandera doing a 1-2. Goes to 7, Estrada. Finds 10, Perez. Back to Estrada. Belgium still looking in this zone look. Estrada gets it through the cup. Finds Gomez. To 43, Ruiz. Back. They're just walking up the field. Gomez getting stuck. Throws the OI flick to Bandera. Makes the grab. Finds Estrada. Back to Bandera. Bandera might have stepped on the foot of one of the Belgian cup. Back to Gomez. Bandera. Ruiz. Unfortunately, that's a missed throw from Ruiz, not able to hit number 10, Perez. Belgium starting their offense. Goes to Demare. Demare fakes the huck, finds 16, Labazuski. Goes to 18, Aukes, sorry. Aukes throws the hammer as well, but unfortunately it's out of bounds.
Mexico putting some pressure on with a zone look. We saw them use this on Monday against the Netherlands. A similar style team as Belgium, tall, able to put up big throws, but certainly the zone was effective then to slow them down.
The rain has decided to pick up. Unfortunately, there's just no dry day in Waterloo. So this will also be affecting the players' throws along with the wind. We have Bandera on the sideline. Gets it to Gomez. And Gomez sends the huck. But Orlovsky is able to make up the ground and gets a D.
That's the first deep look we've seen Mexico take so far this game. Maybe trying to spread their field, open up the field a little bit, get themselves some more success.
Demare with the disc. Finds Labazuski. Goes to 88, Tyrions. Labazuski. Goes to Aukes. Finds Demare. Mexico in their own version of a zone. Demare. Tyrion. Demare. Labazuski. Demare getting every other pass. Demare. Alkes. Demare. Tyrion. Demare. Belgium just keen to work it up through the three handlers, running sort of dominator look. Tyrion. Alkes. And he calls a timeout. How do you feel about that timeout call by Alkes, Melissa?
It's interesting. I think Belgium was doing a good job of moving the disc. I think if they had stuck with it a little longer, maybe we would have started to see them move that through the three defenders early in the front. Belgium's quick on their handler resets and on their movements there against the zone. I think I would have liked to see them be a little bit more patient on the field, work it up a little bit further, maybe across half before taking that timeout.
It's especially hard, since Mexico was still in their zone look and their cup was looking more fatigued. You know, they were not being able to keep up with the handlers' quick movements on Belgium. So it was interesting that they decided to take the timeout, but maybe they just felt that the downfield options were really lacking.
And maybe this is the time I think I heard the coach calling from the sideline, maybe directing his players to take a timeout, perhaps make some adjustments against the zone, trying to be a little more efficient coming out of the timeout.
We'll see if Mexico sticks with their zone or if they transition to person now. Looks like the sideline's in good spirits, though. They just had a very good game of ninja going in between this timeout. A little unclear as to what kind of set Belgium is going to be running, but appears to be a horizontal set. And Mexico appears to be going back to person. Tapped in by number 2, Hermosillo. Alkes with the disc, looking to Demare. Demare has it. There's a poach off of Tyrion. He's free. Back to Demare. Mexico doing maybe a different kind of zone look. I believe it's what North America generally calls a wedge. Back to Demare. Finds Labazuski on the sideline. Goes back to Demare. Slices through to Alkes. Finds Tyrion on the other sideline. To Orlovskis. Alkes. Tyrion. Demare. Demare faking hard. Back to Alkes. Belgium having good movement, but not really getting any upfield gain. Alkes. Labazuski. Nice try from 43. Ruiz. Finds Tyrion. Alkes. Demare. Demare gets it to 29. That's Belpaire. Back to Demare, Alkes. These two just running the show right now. Demare goes over the top to Labazuski. And he finds number 13 Skeetacat.
Well done by Belgium moving that disc right after the timeout. I think we saw that efficiency that maybe their coach was looking for, fast, quick movement and taking those shots upfield when they were there. The Mexico defenders starting to look a little tired at the end. They held the zone all the way through to the end zone. Maybe an opportunity to fall off into a person defense at some point once they saw those upfield shots starting to be taken.
It is 5-0 for Belgium. All of these scores have been breaks, so we're hoping to see Mexico come out with a really strong offensive line to maybe score their first hold. Looks like we have a pretty new line on the Mexico offense. You know, no Gomez. Doesn't look like we have Padilla or Perez either. So we'll see how these guys handle against Belgium, whether or not they throw another zone. That's a pull from Demare.
These large pulls from Belgium really setting them up with good field position on their defense so far.
We have Graf with the disc. I believe that's Reyes on the side. Reyes goes to Graf, but there's a D from 22, DeConnick.
Great read by the Belgian defender just to get in there, take a closer line on that disc, able to come down with the D close to the end zone.
Van Molen wiping off the disc, walking up to the sideline. Looking for Alkeys, but goes to Tyrion in the center. Tyrion really moving his mark with his length. Back to Van Molen. Sees Demare. Van Molen. Demare. Van Molen. These two content to just dink it back to each other. Demare. Van Molen. Nice grab. Elects not to go to Tyrion. Tries to go back to his friend Demare, but unfortunately, there's a D from 12. Gonzalez.
And Gonzalez is excited. Right after that D, he went for the strike. Unfortunately, no one on Mexico rushing to pick up that disc.
But that is the kind of momentum Mexico needs at this point. And there's a huck, but Demare picks it up. Demare goes around to Labazuski. Van Molen. Tyrion. Van Molen. Gets it around to Tyrion. Tyrion faking that IO break. Van Molen. Mexico Mark's getting more frantic, maybe trying to confuse the throwers of Belgium, but they are unfazed. Goes to Alkeys. Tyrion. Labazuski. Not quite in yet. Fakes the high release. Fakes the low release. Fakes the backhand. And instead there's a push pass, but Graf is able to grab it. Graf puts it on the line. Goes around to, I believe, Bandera. Goes to Gonzalez. Hear from the sideline that they want them to put it. Graf has it now. Mexico reset able to get open. 69 Reyes. No downfield options. But there's a foul on the mark. Uncontested from Tyrion. This will come back in at 1.
We know Mexico certainly.
Oh, maybe not. It's coming in on 6. Very confusing when they do an uncontested hand signal, but don't actually contest it, but actually contest it.
I think they are discussing that right now. Yep.
So unclear still. Okay, it is 0.
In on 1.
Yeah, in on 1. Okay. So we get the reset off to 43. Reyes. Still no downfield options. But Ruiz is open, and that's a drop.
Unfortunately, I think that disc was intended for Graf.
But Naff, unfortunately, gets his hand on it and cannot make the grab. We have Alkeys walking to the disc now. To Van Molen. Foul on the mark. Uncontested for Mexico. Yeah, uncontested. Good spirit from Chambers.
The rain's really starting to pick up now. It's a heavy downpour.
Tyrion makes a bid but can't grab his hand. And Gonzalez is off on the races. But no one decides to elect to throw him. We have Ruiz picking up. He finds Perez. Graf up the line. But it is Reyes who's able to keep the bobble. And Reyes sends it deep. And Graf toes it in. Oh, And there is a question on whether he's in or out.
Great strike from the Mexican handler, trying to make something happen for his team. Not a lot of options downfield. Graf just elects to take it on himself and get there.
That is one of those hardest shots. We always talk about having strike cuts coming from the opposite third of the field. But same third strikes are still quite good, and it is ruled a goal. And that is the first hole for this Mexican offense. The rain has picked up considerably. Another thing to note, it is a bit cooler than has been in the past couple weeks here in southern Ontario. Today it's around 19 or 18, but with this rain and wind, it probably feels more like 15. So pretty standard fall weather in Ontario. Unfortunately, just came a bit early.
Throwers' hands probably feeling pretty chilly today, having to warm them up on the sidelines, get those fingers moving.
Yeah.
With a wet disc, it's hard to stay loose on the field.
Yeah, smart coaches might go to some place like Canadian Tire and see if there are hand warmers available or feet warmers. That would be the only place to get them at this time of year. So, pro tip. And we are seeing the Belgian offense for the first time this game. They have a pretty small roster, so it'll be full of people who've already been playing D-line points, but we'll see how efficient they are when given the chance to start on O. And it looks like we have a very fired up Mexican D-line getting ready for this pull. And that is Fuentes with the roller. Stop from Mosquake. Yonkers with the disc, wiping it thoroughly. He goes to Duthrois. Mexico with the zone. We see Feller. Duthrois. Yonkers. Duthrois. Back to Yonkers. Goes to Feller. Sees Yonkers in the center. Goes to Vandenbroek. Duthrois. To Faber. It's too high for Faber. And that's a D from, I believe, Padilla. No, it is Garcia.
Excellent hustle from Mexico there, really forcing Belgium to try and open up the field. And again, with this wind, it can be tough for those across field looks, just getting caught and pulling it a little over the Belgian player.
Mexico brings it to the sideline. Reyes gets free up the line. Strike from Estrada, but no go. Goes to 14, but unfortunately too far, and Mosquake is able to pick it off. Goes to Kinda. Yonkers. Yonkers giving a nice wipe to the disc on his chest. To Faber. Back to Yonkers. Mexico still in a zone look, and the offense for Belgium looking a little static. Duthrois. Yonkers. And that's just a slip off his hands. And Mexico is knocking on the doorstep, 5 yards out, and maybe they can punch it in for their first break.
Great pressure from that zone, causing that turnover just outside of the end zone.
Padilla goes to the disc. There is a pick call from Belgium. I believe it happened very early, so I wouldn't be surprised if the count only comes in at 1 or 2. Padilla sends the high release, and it's just off the hands of Fuentes.
Fuentes showing a little frustration, a little emotion. Mexico doing a great job to give themselves an opportunity to come back 5-2 here. Just unlucky pop off the hands.
We have Faber in his own end zone. He sends the high shot to Yonkers. Garcia almost got another D. Yonkers fakes the backhand huck to Faber. Belgium still stuck in their own end zone. Goes to Duthrois. To Faber. Kinda with a nice grab. Duthrois. Goes to Yonkers. Still no movement from the Belgian offense in the center. He finds Vandenbroek. Goes back to Yonkers. Some strike cuts, but Yonkers elects not to throw him. Duthrois, Yonkers. Over the top to Feller, but Kinda's there to pick it up. Yonkers. More wiping. Gotta use any dry surface you have. Faber. Yonkers. Kinda. Faber. Duthrois. Duthrois goes to Kinda on the sideline. Finds Yonkers. The disc is not dry enough for Yonkers, constantly wiping it. Vandenbroek. Faber. Vandenbroek. Duthrois. Feller. Yonkers. Duthrois, tough grab, was able to hold on. Faber. Feller. Faber. Feller. Yonkers. Mexico zone doing a good job of creating a lot of passes between the Belgian offense. Kinda. Faber. Duthrois. And that is just too far for Kinda.
Tough turnover after some great patience from the Belgian offense there. 40 or 50 passes to work it that far up the field, and just an unfortunate execution error on the throw.
Padilla picking up. Looking for Reyes. Finds Estrada. Goes to Garcia. Garcia fakes the huck. Fuentes all alone. But again, another low throw and you can't make the grab.
Looks like Mexico's going to get back into that zone look that's been so effective for them so far.
Yonkers in the center. Duthrois, Mexico sideline getting loud. Vandenbroek, Feller. Duthrois. Yonkers. Faber. Duthrois. Faber. Duthrois. Faber. Vandenbroek. Faber. Duthrois. Yonkers. Still very few in cuts from the Belgian offense. Feller with it. Looking over the top to Yonkers. Back to Feller. These two are just running the show. Yonkers. Faber to Duthrois in the center. Goes to Vandenbroek. Goes to Faber. He sends the IO backhand to Yonkers on the other side. To Kinda. Yonkers. Mexico still in the zone look, even though they're past the break mark. Goes to Duthrois. He goes to Vandenbroek. Yonkers. Yonkers 3 yards out. Actually 2 yards out. And Yonkers sends it to Feller.
And there it is. That is what that team was working so hard for. Pushing Mexico all the way back, being so patient, just working the disc up through the middle of the field, taking those looks when they were there. Coming up with a 6-1 score.
Yeah, unfortunate that Mexico was not able to capitalize, but I think that the defensive pressure is something that has gotten the whole team very excited. Definitely has lifted up their spirits, knowing that they can get Ds on these tall Belgian players.
Absolutely. We've heard a change in the Mexican sideline. As you were saying, lots of cheering, lots of talking starting now from Mexico. Getting excited that they got a point on the board and maybe some opportunities for some more to come.
It looked like Gomez is healed enough that he's ready to go back on the field for this Mexico offensive line. We also have the other Gomez, Gonzalez, who has been doing some great hard work in the cutter space. We have Hermosillo, Elizada.
We see Graf back out there, the Mexican player who scored their first goal of the game so far.
And finally, Naff. Mexico has a huge sideline support. A lot of fans here cheering for Mexico. I believe they also might have their women's team here, who has not played their first game yet. So definitely a Mexico sideline for the rest of this game, I think. We have Graf picking up, centering to Gomez. To Graf. Looks like Person from Belgium. To Gomez. Looks like it's mostly their O-line that was just on, save for a couple of subs. Gomez gets open. Fakes the backhand, looking to his partner in crime, Gomez. Gonzalez very free. Goes to the other Gomez in the center. Gomez sends it deep, tails out of bounds, but there is a foul call. It is uncontested from Mosquake. Vandenbroek looks a little upset because he won that D.
We saw him before that throw there just pointing, saying he wants the deep strike. He wants to open up the field, asking his receivers to push the pressure here against Belgium.
It's on, coming in at one. Gomez goes under, and that's to Eli Zalde. Vandenbroek with a nice rolling dive to go over Eli Zalde, did not cause a foul. Goes to Gomez around the center. Gomez goes over the top, but unfortunately Gomez cannot make the grab, and that's a chance for Belgium. Faber picking up. Aggressive mark from Gonzalez. Dufois. Faber. Vandenbroek. Kinda. Faber. Vandenbroek sails high, but is able to get a second chance at it. Faber. Mexico now in person. Faber fakes the high release, confuses his mark. Sends the IO to Dufois, and he sends it deep to Kinda. Kinda with tons of space, and is able to make the easy grab.
That's the first real opportunity we've seen Belgium be able to make a deep look like that. The Mexican defense being so effective in shutting down their big huck throws that we know Belgium has. Here with Mexico just transitioning from that slough off the handlers into that person, maybe got caught a little off guard and allowed the opportunity for Belgium to strike.
If I were the Belgian coach, I would look to put on a really strong D-line. If they get the turn and can capitalize it, that will take us to half.
Again, we're seeing a very similar line out on the field. Estrada out there again for Mexico. Maybe trying to have a push here to slow down the transition into halftime.
One thing that's especially hard with the cold weather is whether or not you want to play players that have been sitting for a while. It's hard, playing your players back-to-back points, but at the same time, it is also hard to play players who have been sitting for 3 or 4 points in a row. Definitely don't want to have injuries this late into the tournament, as well as you're not sure if they're warmed up enough in terms of their throwing or just, if they can really run. Orlovsky's with the pull. He's been sitting for a while. We have it to Badia. Finds Garcia all alone. Goes to Hernandez. Looking for a reset to Padilla. Fakes the lefty backhand. Goes to Estrada. And it looks like it's a clean D for Orlovsky's. And Belgium just at the brick mark wanting to score this break. Orlovsky's cuts under. He has it. Around to Dumoulin. Nice layout grab to keep possession. To Van Molen.
And a big break throw. And that takes us to half. 8-1. Excellent, excellent look from the Belgian team to hit that receiver all the way across the field, right just outside of the end zone.
Yeah, nice run from Labazuski. So it is 8-1 Belgium. We'll be taking a short break. We'd just like to remind you that this live stream has been brought to you by Cut Camps. They are here throughout the whole week of WJUC, providing coaching for both players and coaches. So if you're here, see what clinics they have available today. Thank you. Welcome back to the second half of our first game today between Belgium men's and Mexico men's. Shout out to our sponsors. This field is brought to you by Cut Camps, who are here all week, as well as we have Universe Point Cleats, Discraft Discs, VC Ultimate Apparel, as well as WIFDIF, our governing body. We will have Belgium starting out on O. This will be their second O point of this whole game. They've been going on a run of breaks. I'm here with Melissa Dunbar. Melissa, how do you feel about this game so far?
Well, Belgium has come out strong in the first half. The score really lopsided at this point. I think Mexico did a great job in the second half of that first half to put on some tight defense, forcing Belgium to work really hard to get every score. They've been setting up a great zone, and we'll see if they'll put it on here to start off the second half.
One thing that I cannot understate about this game is that everyone can pull extremely well in both this wind and rain. That was a really nice pull from Mexico. We have Alkes and Demare just going 1-2, finally finding Orlovskis, who goes deep to Labazuski. It is too far, however, and we will have a chance for Mexico to get a break.
Belgium certainly not afraid to throw up those deep looks. They are a tall team. They're an athletic team, and they have been able to open up their field when they can catch Mexico off guard. If Mexico has the opportunity to put on their zone, it certainly has been slowing down the deep looks from Belgium.
Belgium recognizing that they have the win with them and just elect to go with a three-person cup. Center to Estrada. Goes to Ruiz, back to Estrada. Estrada gets it around to Badia. Looking for something in the center. Goes to Estrada. Ruiz. Estrada. Ruiz. Looking to break through that cup. Estrada. Ruiz. But they're keen to just go up the sideline. Finds Garcia.
Looks as though just a quick D there from Belgium, running through the disc at the right moment.
And we have Alkes back with the disc to Tyrion. Alkes. Mexican putting in a zone themselves. He goes in the middle to Demare. To that is Belpaire. Demare to Tyrion. To Alkes. Orlovskis. Tries to go to Labazuski again, but that is just too high for him to make the play. Padilla looking to Ruiz, likes to go to Estrada. Estrada trying to throw that IO flick break, but it is too low for Ruiz to make the play.
Belgium's cup, they're being very effective. They're such big bodies to try and throw around in between, forcing a turnover.
Demare, Alkes, Demare, Alkes, Tyrion, Alkes, Tyrion, Labazuski, Alkes, Demare, but unfortunately is too far, and Padilla picks it off again. We have it to Ruiz. Ruiz goes deep to 17. But that is Skeeta Cat with the D. Nice run through.
Great closing speed by the Belgium player. We saw this from Mexico on Monday. They really do favor their flick hucks. Perhaps that moment a backhand deep look would have been the best option, giving a little OI to come back around into the field, giving the Mexican offensive player a little bit more time to run onto that disc.
Demare walking up to the cone. This is their fourth chance on this O point, so we'll see if they can use it, they can finally capitalize. Alkes in his own end zone. Alkes elects to go with the timeout call again.
Interesting choice for a timeout here, right on their own end zone line. Perhaps the Belgian offensive line a little tired after having to work it so far up the field a few times in a row, giving themselves a little bit of a break.
Alkes is actually in his own end zone. A little strange, I would say. But, you know, I think as juniors players, sometimes you decide to go, you might make decisions that sound halfway good, and you don't realize the other half as to why they can be problematic. The rain has lightened up as well. It is not too windy, so hopefully this can hold just for our future games. We would love to be able to stream every game today. We have 6 live streams coming to you today, including this one. So a full day of Ultimate. Just have Ultimate on your screen all day, every day.
Mexico, maybe an opportunity here to put on that zone again.
Yeah, it looks like players are a little slow when it comes to setting on the offense, but I don't think anyone minds that, particularly Mexico gives them more time to set on defense. They've decided to go back with their zone look, which has been working pretty effectively, with 17 Lopez in the lane. And the disc goes in, Alkeys with it. Trying to find some resets. Gets it to his partner, Demare. Demare goes to Tyrion. Back to Demare. Demare breaking through that zone wall. Tyrion. Demare still stuck in their own end zone. Alkeys trying to find that upfield option. Goes to Tyrion. Goes to Demare. Still haven't been able to break through that wall that Mexico has. Alkeys. Nice job from the zone to really stop those upfield gainers to Demare. Tyrion. Alkeys well in their own end zone at this point. Labazuski. Tyrion. Demare, nice marks from Mexico, really stifling the handlers. Demare sends it deep. And Ski the Cat makes the grab, and it's inbounds. And it's just out the hands of Belpaire.
Such an unfortunate drop in the end zone there. Just a byproduct of the wet, rainy day we've had today. Great work by Belgium to punch it up the sideline. Great run from the receiver to help get to the end zone.
Estrada on the corner. Padilla. Padilla having trouble finding someone. Goes for the scoober to Estrada. It's completed. Low throw from Estrada, but Padilla's able to pick it up. Goes to Perez. Estrada. Ruiz. Io break to Padilla. Estrada. Ruiz. Another flick break. Padilla still can hold on. Ruiz. Estrada. Padilla. Estrada running the show. Generally he's a receiver for Mexico, but he's showing off his handling skills to Ruiz. Ruiz opts for the blade, and it works, and that is Mexico's first break. That is to number 24, Garcia. And you can see that the whole sideline for Mexico is excited, even their fans. They have a lot of noisemakers, they have flags. This is a big moment for the Mexico team.
Mexico taking a page out of Belgium's book, being really patient against that zone offense. A few beautiful IO breaks right through the cup, forcing the cup to have to move and swing across the field. Really started to open up the field for Mexico.
We have a Belgian O-line. It looks more like their standard O-line the last time that they were on offense previous to this half. Looks like there is some frustration between some of the players, obviously. This is the first time they've been broken, and it's hard, you know, after you get such a huge run on a team like this when you get broken by them on your first or second O point. The sun has decided to come out, which is excellent. Maybe the field will be a little less wet, which would be wonderful, as I am getting tired of standing in the rain. And that's a pull from Fuentes. Lands inbound, gets some good roll. Duthrois to Yonkers. Mexico still putting a zone look. Yonkers just over the top to Bontemps. Bontemps faking that IO flick. Goes to Duthrois. Yonkers. Faber. Luckily, he can make the second grab. Faber does not want to throw the inside break. Goes for the around break, which hangs to Duthrois. Duthrois also goes around to Yonkers. Some gutsy throws from this Belgian offense. Yonkers. Goes to Duthrois, huge hole in the cup. Faber able to make the quick grab. Duthrois. Yonkers. Still nothing much from the Belgian cutters. Mostly running everything through their handlers. Duthrois. Duthrois sends the blade to Mosquik, and it is too far. And that's just another turn from the Belgian offense that seems really uncharacteristic.
I think just getting a little excited in the second half. They're feeling a little bit more pressure from Mexico. Mexico sideline getting really excited, really pumped up about that first break. I think Belgium wants to come out here, wants to start pushing the way they did in that first half and just overthrowing their receiver a little bit.
There's a huck from the Mexican offense, but it is way too low for the receiver. So Yonkers receives it in the middle, goes to Faber, goes to Bontemps, back to Faber. Fakes the high release, goes back to Duthrois though. Duthrois slices it through the center to Yonkers. Yonkers finds Vendebroek. Yonkers knocking on the door. Fakes the Scuba. Looks at Duthrois. Fakes the high release. Yonkers. Kinda makes a nice grab from behind. Sends the backhand, but it hangs, but Faber can get a hand on it. Faber fakes the Scuba. Duthrois. Faber doesn't quite jump it in, but he slices it through to Vendenbroek, and that is a hold for Belgium.
You can see how comfortable the Belgian players are with their throws, often switching between their dominant hand and a backhand look as well, with their lefties and their Scubers over the tops.
It is hard, especially for Mexico. They are a smaller team, and we have seen Belgium come out with those high-release flicks, Scubers, hammers, so they are kind of falling for these fakes that maybe in another Ultimate game they wouldn't otherwise do. But because Belgium has actually been successful with them, they are bidding a little hard on those fakes, and that opens up other throws for the Belgian offense. Looks like we have some similar people staying on the D-line. Yonkers, Faber, Bontemps maybe, as well as Duthrois. We'll see how these guys can handle, staying on for a couple points in a row. Belgium does have a very small squad. That is why they've been able to pick up the players like Benjamin and Orlovskis. They did have one injured player, Jonas Sogard, who's unable to play, but they have accumulated another injury in Benjamin Ort. Hurt his ankle, I believe, in the first game. So hasn't even been able really to play with this Belgian team yet.
We have similar players out again, once again on the Mexican offensive line. You can see Gomez and Graf, the two main O handlers, back out there looking to make something happen for this Mexican team with just over 30 minutes to play and the score 9-2 for Belgium right now.
Duthrois with the pull. If you heard on the stream someone yell Frisbees, that is the Belgian team. Most of them played with them at WUC in Cincinnati this past year. These players include Yonkers, as well as, I believe, apparently it's actually just Yonkers, but I am sure there are other players on this team who have played with Frisbees at Cincinnati. They just have not written it down in the broadcast sheet. Gomez with it. Back to Graf. Gomez. Gomez goes over to the top to Padilla. Graf. Padilla. Padilla shows that he can also scuba it to Gomez. Padilla. High release to Graf. Graf goes to Naf. Goes back to Graf. Padilla. Gomez. Gomez getting stuck. Finds Graf. High release to Padilla. He has time. Padilla surveying. Fakes. Graf gets open. Very enthusiastic Mexican fans on the sideline. Graf goes around to Gomez. Gomez goes for the blade. Feller almost gets a hand on it, but it's actually Hernandez, number 19 on Mexico, who is probably the best play. He unfortunately cannot come down with that disc. Faber picking it up. Goes to Yonkers. Yonkers goes with the lefty backhand to Faber. Feller is able to get open in the middle. Faber finds him to Duthrois. Faber. Yonkers. Feller on the sideline. Slices it through to Yonkers. Faber. Bontemps, I believe. Faber. Sends it high to Yonkers. He makes the grab. Yonker faking aggressively, but goes to Faber in the backfield. Duthrois. Faber. We have a strike, but no. Sends it to Bontemps. And Mosqueak tries to go for the layout, but comes up short. Gomez picking up. High release fake. Looking for Graf. Padilla gets open. Belgium kind of playing a bit of a poachy set. And that throw is just too far behind number 21, Elizalde. And Duthrois gets a hand to it. Yonkers picking up on the sideline. 10 yards to go for Belgium. Very high release fake over the head. Sends the high release back into Feller. And Yonkers does a 7 cut and he's in.
Nice and easy from the Belgian players, so close to the end zone. Great athletic play to toe that disc in.
Score is 10-2 for Belgium. As people might know at home, games are played to 15. Or when our cap runs out, which is 100 minutes, I believe we add 1 to the highest score and we play to that.
You'll notice the Mexican zone defense, what's making them so effective at stopping the Belgian deep strikes, is that they're slow to set up a mark. They're really just moving across in the space, in the lanes, making sure that those throwing lanes are taken away before they're stepping forward and setting the mark. Unfortunately, it's once they move to their person-to-person defense that you start to see the separation between them and Belgium. And Belgium really able to stretch the field with their height, with their athletic plays.
The wind has picked up again. As we mentioned, it's a bit swirly, but today it is more of a crosswind coming from the far side of the field to the near side of the field where the booth is located. We have a pull from Demare. A nice IO pull basically at the end zone line. Goes to Ruiz in the center. Ruiz goes around to 10. Perez finds 2. Hermosillo. Hermosillo sends it deep to Estrada, one of their main receivers. And that is just a mistimed jump from both Estrada and DeMartins, I think. Demare.
Mexico not afraid to put it deep there. I think they're sensing time is running out. They want to see if they can get a few more points on the board, finish strong in this game.
Demare on the end zone line. Goes to Alkeys. Believe that is Van Mullen. To Demare. Cutters for Belgium seeing a bit more, getting a little bit more open. Alkeys sends the laser to Orlovsky's. Orlovsky's looking for something in the center. Goes around to Alkeys. Alkeys all alone. Sends the high shot to 13, Ski the Cat. He's been making great grabs this whole game. To Van Mullen. Orlovsky's throws it to Labazuski. Labazuski wasn't even looking. And that's a great grab from Ski the Cat. That's another break for Belgium. It is 11-2.
Belgium just able to keep that disc moving fast enough. Mexico on their heels, couldn't quite catch up that whole time. Belgium didn't give them a chance to really just moving the disc through nice and easily. Short passes and then stretching it long.
Yeah, Mexico, I would say that they're just suffering from execution errors at this point. That huck was nice in the sense of that Estrada did have steps. He was going deep. But if they can just, throw it a little bit lower, not get so much float, especially since the Belgian team has so much more height on this Mexico team. They should use that speed advantage that they so clearly have over there and not try to float these discs as much and have their players trying to make the play. Looks like we have the Gomez-Handler duo back out on 5 and 15. So have Perez, looks like Vega, not sure how many points he's been getting, Garcia, Hernandez, and it looks like we have pretty much the same line that was just out on D. Orlovsky is getting ready to pull.
As you said, Nico, this Belgium team is a small roster. These men getting a lot of playing time despite the score.
Long hang time from the Orlovsky's pull. Gomez gets in. Alkeys is already on the mark. Gomez censors it to the other Gomez. Unsure if they're in a zone look, Belgium specifically, or if the players are just very deep for Mexico. We have Ruiz with the disc. Back to Ruiz. Ruiz goes around to Gomez, but it's too far. The other Gomez tries to bid, but the disc has already hit the ground. Orlovsky's making a huge run for it. He was in the backfield, but he's ready for a score. Alkeys looking, thinking about it, goes for the blade, and that tails out of bounds. Ruiz bringing it to the cone. Mexico in a vertical stack. And that's just a run through D from Demare. Gets it to Van Mullen. Van Mullen sees Labazuski open, but Labazuski can't hold on. Mexico looking to settle down their offense. Gomez is picking up. We're setting a very deep vertical stack. Gomez. Gomez. No movement from the cutters right now. Gomez looking for something. Goes to Ruiz. Timing just seems off for this Mexican offense.
Belgium doing a lot of poaching in the backfield, I think, is what's causing some traffic and some difficulty for those Mexican offensive players coming under.
Great grab from Garcia under pressure. Finds Ruiz. Has a high release fake to Vega, who goes to Garcia. And it's just off the hands of Hernandez.
Just an unfortunate drop as Mexico did a great job breaking that disc up the field. Wide open space, could have almost brought it into the end zone there.
Mexico electing to go into a zone. Demare picking up, looking for Van Mullum. Gets it through to Alkes, finds Van Mullum, goes to Labazuski. Labazuski sends in a very high IO backhand huck, looking for Orlovsky's. And Orlovsky's maxed it to himself. Ruiz, of course, a little disappointed, but it's hard to place against someone when they are about 6 inches taller than you.
Great reaction from Ruiz there. Almost arms thrown up in disbelief that the Belgian player was able to tap it to himself, keep it in bounds. And a good hug after the play between the two players.
Not sure if I was the Belgian coach if I would be happy with that throw from Labazuski. Obviously, there was a lot of hang time to the disc, but good on Orlovsky. He's able to keep an eye on the disc, gain possession when it looked like it honestly would tail out of bounds. And even though he couldn't make the first grab, he was able to touch it enough just so that he can make a second grab easily.
We've seen a lot of athletic plays here from the Belgium team. Part of the reason they've made such a big push in this tournament, that they're in the position that they're in.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, the way the men's pools are working is that the top 4 of each pool will be going directly into quarterfinals. So we'll be finishing up pool play, I believe, tomorrow. They were unable to finish pool play today due to the fact that we canceled the last 2 rounds yesterday due to heavy rain. And Belgium, I believe, is sitting second right now in Pool B. So we'll see how this game will just push them further into that top spot and keep it. Hopefully they'll have a good quarterfinals matchup. Nice firm grab from Perez. Goes back to Gomez. Gonzalez doing a lot of work, just running all over the place. But Gomez gets a disc after the pressure from Mosquake. Gomez able to tow it in. And he sends it deep. Oh. And unfortunately, Perez cannot get a grab on it. And that was just a great pressure D from Duthrois.
Excellent athletic bid, elevating shoulder high to try and get a hand on that disc. Was able to force a misread by the offense.
Yonkers in his own end zone. Gonzalez with a very active mark. Finds, I believe that's Faber. Hard to tell without his hat. Duthrois. Duthrois looking for an option. Finds Kinda. Kinda goes to Van de Broek. Duthrois. Yonkers. Yonkers goes for the hammer to Mosquake. Finds Vendenbroek. To Faber. Duthrois. Hammer. It's unclear if it was really towards Mosquake. It just seems to be tailing away from him. So that will be a gift for the Mexican offense as they get it near half field. Graf picking up. Gomez. Graf. And Perez cannot get a full grab on that disc. Probably the pressure from Vendenbroek did not help. Faber picking it up on the sideline. Mexico still electing to go with zone. It has been working for them, has gotten them the turns. Faber to Yonkers. And Yonkers calls the last time out for the Belgian offense.
Interesting again. I think we're just seeing Belgium take their time here, maybe feeling a little bit of fatigue. As you said, they have a small roster. Their players have been playing a lot this game, giving themselves a chance to just take a breath, get some water, stretch out those legs and shake off the nerves as they've made some uncharacteristic throwaways or execution errors just in this point here.
Yeah, I would definitely say that the score 12-2 is not reflective of the actual game at hand. You know, Mexico has created so many turns and opportunities, and Belgium also has just thrown it away a lot. So these points are long and they drag. So I can understand why they would want a timeout after a while.
Lots of time still left in the game for Mexico to put on a final push here to try and finish this game off with some upward momentum. They've certainly been a little bit more fired up on their defense, been forcing a few more turnovers. Just over 17 minutes left to go.
Belgian sideline still having a lot of fun. We get some loves from some of the players. Hernandez sending some love home. I believe this is either the first or second time that Mexico has been at this tournament. So I think this is just a good learning experience for most of these players. A lot of them are they're so young, but they're still playing such high-level Ultimate, including like they're playing on teams like Phoenix, Exalix, Axolotes, Euphoria. A lot of these teams have been representing Mexico at different worlds competitions, such as WAC. So it's great to see that the Mexican youth Ultimate scene is growing and thriving. Dutois on the sideline, to Faber in the middle, goes to Yonkers. Seems like Belgium is working at a higher tempo at this point. Kinda sends it to Vandenbroek. Gets it to Yonkers. Nice grab. Dutois. Faber. Dutois. Yonkers. Dutois. Kinda. Yonkers. Faber. Belgian offense barely holding it for more than 2 seconds. Back to Faber. Yonkers. Yonkers looking. Throws the skewer to Bontemps all alone. Faber. Yonkers. Dutois. Yonkers. Faber. Yonkers. High release to Bontemps. Bontemps fakes the hammer, goes to Faber. Faber gets that IO backhand to Vandenbroek, and that is a very easy hold from the Belgian offense. Maybe the best offense we've seen from them since Mexico has put on the zone.
Absolutely. So smooth on their throws. Like you said, not holding that disc for very long, forcing the Mexican defense to have to spread the field and run back and forth over and over again, really starting to tire at the Mexican defense, allowing Belgium to just get those little punches upfield, put Mexico on their heels, and well-executed throw to get it into the end zone.
Yeah, really seen that they had just, like, after that timeout, there was a tempo change in the Belgian offense, and they were like, we should just dial it up to 11, as we like to say.
Belgium may be looking to be a little bit more efficient here and finish off the game without tiring themselves out too much with these long points.
Yeah, most of the men's teams either have 2 or 3 games today, and if they only have 2, they'll have a third game tomorrow before we get into bracket play. So definitely trying to save legs, want to get inside. It's still quite cold, as we've mentioned. It's very wet. More love from the sideline, from the Belgian team, trying to get on stream, sending love. Feller looking to pull. And that is out of bounds. I believe that is our first out-of-bounds pull this whole game, which is a little surprising. I know yesterday it seemed like every time I was rewatching my stream and I just kept saying sailing out of bounds, but it happens so often.
Both sides have done a really good job. You mentioned it earlier, keeping the pull in, but also setting up those pulls really deep into the end zone so far in this game.
Padilla taking it to the brick mark. Disc is in. Mexico in sort of a split and sense play. Padilla sends it deep, and Feller gets his hands on it. Almost looked like he tried to grab it, but I think he was coming in very hot. Faber picks up, Goes to Duthrois. Faber. Mexico in the zone look. Duthrois too far behind him and he can't make the bid. I believe that's Reyes. Gets it to Estrada. Estrada looking. Ruiz. Back to Estrada. Very close. And he punches into Padilla. And he's excited about that score.
Very exciting for Mexico. They put their 3rd point up on the board. Again, that's how they want to finish this game, with a little bit of momentum. Working hard to match against this tough Belgium team who's just so athletic and so quick on their movements. But Mexico showing that they can do it too and getting that 3rd point on the board late in the game.
Their fan base on the far sideline is very excited about that score. I would say that Belgium has done a good job not letting the Mexico sideline and Mexico fan base kind of get in their heads. They've been really still taking this game very seriously, wanting to finish it strong, even though Mexico really does seem to build on that momentum, even though it's very small at this point. Both teams are really looking to show the love on stream. If only some videographer like the flat baller or Nate Kolakovic was here, I'm sure we would see a lot of hamming up for the cameras. Mexico, I believe, on their 3rd D point, or 4th D point, and that's Reyes with the pull. Gets it, it's around the brick mark. Demare. Mexico still going zone. Wind is picked up. Van Molen. Aukes. And that's just a drop from Van Molen. Again, it's too far for him to really make that grab. Would have to bid, I would say, for even to get a good chance at the possession. And we have Bandera picking up. One of the main handlers for this Mexican team. Reyes trying to shake free of Aukes, which he does. Sends it up to Garcia. And Garcia gets it to Mayorga, and that is the first Mexican break, I believe.
Mexico, you can see, so excited for that point, rushing the field. A huge break late in the game. Again, trying to come out of this game with some momentum, with some enthusiasm. Closing hard on those discs. All of those throws very contested by the Belgium defense, but Mexico able to rein it in.
I believe, sorry, I'm trying to see who had that bid on Belgium. It was very close. He looks a little disappointed with himself, but it is hard, to stop those break up the line throws.
The wind has really picked up here in the last 2 minutes or so, moving again from the far side of the field towards us here in the booth, but also moving a little bit from the right to left on your screen. So you'll see Belgium will have to go a little bit upwind here on their offensive point if they want to bring this game to within 1 for game point.
Yeah, as we mentioned, it has been swirling. So I would say that teams really have to, always be thinking about calibrating their throws because the wind has changed so much throughout the course of one game. Estrada looking to pull. Hopefully using this wind to his advantage to get it nice and deep so the Mexican zone can set. Demare with the grab to Van Molen. Demare. Van Molen. Demare. Aukes. And that's Lubaszewski with the behind grab. Lubaszewski. Demare. To Van Molen. Nice work by the Mexican mids to stagnate the the Belgian offense. Demare with the disc goes back to Aukes to Van Molen. Demare. Van Molen goes around to Aukes. He makes a nice grab. Demare. Still not really any options upfield. Has to go back to Aukes. Nice work by Reyes to cover Orlovsky. Goes over the top to Van Mollem. He goes to Skeeta Cat, but Skeeta Cat can't make the grab, and even if he did, I believe he would have been out of bounds.
Mexico taking advantage, not a lot of opportunity for Belgium to stretch the field against the wind that we're having right now. Mexico able to play under on that defense.
Bandera with the disc on the sideline. Looking to Graf. And there's a pick call. Looks like it'll be coming in at 4. Not sure how everyone heard the mark from here, but good work. Oh, 3. Nope, it is coming in on 3. As we've mentioned before in WIFDIF, picks calls, they are brought in back at the time the pick occurred, not when the thrower recognizes it. Hanging. Reyes cannot get a full hand on that disc. Orlovsky picks up, fakes the huck, and there's a foul call. Seems to be some talk, but Reyes uncontest the throw, uncontest the foul call. We're coming back on 1. Orlovsky looking. Has Van Mollem. Goes around to Alkes. Over the top to Orlovsky. Cup really tightening up all around Orlovsky's. Gets to Demare. Goes to Van Mollem inside the cup. Finds Labazuski. Goes back to Demare. Or now goes back to Demare. That was Van Mollem. Finds Labazuski. Back to Van Mollem. Labazuski. Demare. Goes around. And that's a nice D from Estrada. And Estrada's off to the races. They elect not to huck it. Back to Estrada. Chambers going deep. Estrada with not really a mark on. Goes to Graf. And that's a D from Labazuski.
Unfortunate turnover there. Mexico coming out so hard on defense, forcing that turnover. A great decision to holster the huck and have Estrada come back under. Unfortunately, just the reset not getting open in time.
Van Mollem to Demare, to Alkes, to Van Mollem. Orlovsky's. Skeeta Cat has to try to toe it in again, but Reyes is there to get the firm D. Graf looking to pick up on Skeeta Cat to mark.
Mexico gesturing to bring their stack a little closer to the disc here.
Graf is brought in. Goes around to Bandera. Bandera makes the grab. Bandera surveying, looking for answers. Finds Reyes. Reyes with his wind blowing in the hair. Goes around to Bandera. In cut from Graf. Everyone's going deep, and Graf elects to go deep. Unfortunately, Orlovsky's is there, and with his height advantage, he's able to get a hand to the disc.
I don't mind that look from Mexico there to just put that up deep. They were struggling to get open on their continuation cuts. A lot of stagnant play downfield. Graf just electing to try and move that disc and make something happen.
We have Alkes on the line. Gets to Van Mollem. Demare. Gets it to Thirion. Demare. Orlovsky's. Orlovsky sent to the center to Labazuski. Labazuski thinks about the huck, but says, no. Demare. Van Mollem. To Thirion. Van Mollem just behind the brick mark. Demare. And Demare decides that he wants to play the height advantage and sends it deep to Orlovsky's, who has a nice re on it, and that is a great hold for the Belgian offense.
Beautiful deep throw from Belgium there, just recognizing that their one-to-one matchup deep is going to go in their favor. Just the height difference between the two players with that type of throw.
Yeah, that is something that I find that juniors players sometimes don't always realize, is that there are definite mismatches and that smart players will capitalize on that. And with a player like Orlovsky's, who is good in the air, has the height, has the speed even. You know, you might as well realize that you have to use that to your advantage as much as you can.
I think the thrower recognizing and utilizing the wind well on that throw, he was able to do a almost completely diagonal crossfield look, put beautiful OI on it, allowed it to float in the air as opposed to having the wind push it either direction.
We have the Mexican offense standing like brothers on the line, trying to punch one more in, whereas Belgium's looking to finish off this game on a high note and take it 15-4 if possible.
Just over 2 minutes left here in the game.
Yeah, we will be going to a point cap regardless of the way this game finishes. And that's Faber with a pull. And that is inbounds, sails out of bounds. So Gomez is going to bring it to the line.
Another great pull from Belgium. They've done it all day, been able to send that disc to the back of the end zone, give themselves great field position on defense.
Gomez. Belgium in a zone look of their own, and Gomez finds Gomez all alone. I'm sorry, I think that was Gaspar. Back to Gomez. Padilla makes the high grab over Dufois. Belgium still in their zone look. Able to find Gomez in the center. And Gomez goes deep to Hermosillo, but Yonkers is there. Again, another misread from both players. There is a foul call from Yonkers, but since the disc has already gone to ground, I don't believe it will affect anything. Yonkers picking up. Throws a Scuba very aggressively over to Faber. Faber finds Kinda on the line. Feller. Back to Kinda. Feller. And looking to punch it into Faber, but it just goes to ground without any bid attempt. We have Padilla with the disc. Looking for an option. Finds 18 Naff. I'm sorry, that's 19 Hernandez. Padilla gets it in the middle to Hermosillo. Back to Padilla. Padilla faking these hucks, faking the IO backhand. Goes into the center, but no completion there to Hermosillo.
Mexico just struggling against that zone there. Their downfield offensive players were a little deep, and those Belgian players are just too tall to be able to throw it over the top in this wind.
Yonkers with the disc. Goes to Dufois. Yonkers looking for the 1-2, but Dufois elects to go to Faber. Sends it to Feller, and the wind just carries that out of bounds.
Belgium seems excited to try and finish up this game, maybe making a few execution errors in their excitement.
Gomez on the line. Gomez goes around to Hermosillo, but Dufois picks that up to Yonkers. And Yonkers sends the flick huck to Bontemps, and Bontemps cannot make the grab.
You can see both teams are maybe starting to get a little tired at this point, struggling a little against the wind.
Wind has definitely picked up in the last few minutes of this last point, or possible last point. Mexico definitely does not want it to be their last point. Padilla on the line. Looking for an option. Sails high, and Feller grabs that. Goes to Faber. And he elects to send a high release flick to Kinda, and that ends this game.
(15-4) our final score for Belgium over Mexico in this pool play game. Great battle between the two teams. Great job by Mexico to start putting on some pressure here in this second half, making it a little harder for this Belgium team, but who was ultimately able to continue their athletic plays and come out on top here on day 4.
Yeah. There are, I think that the Mexican team should hold their head high. There were a lot of good things to take away from this game, and I believe their sideline is very happy with the way they performed here. So we'll see how they do for the rest of the tournament and how far Belgium can make it into the bracket. We'll be coming back with you at 11. We have a game between the women's teams of Mexico and the People's Republic of China, so stay tuned for that. I'm Nico Birch.
I'm Melissa Dunbar.
And we'll see you soon.